Hey, Jason, can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. I can't hear you.
Hello.
Hey, Juan,
How are you guys doing?
all good. What about you?
Well, I'm doing great, thank you.
I found that we have a problem, an issue with the Google Meet link that is attached to the issue with the Open Community Working Meeting because I was in the wrong Google Meet session. So I'm going to update it and review what happened with the GitHub action that is creating this. So yeah.
Yeah, but
1 second. Yeah, done. Okay, cool. How is everything going?
it's all really good. What about you guys? What are you up to these days?
Yeah, in my case, I'm not as busy as I was like a couple of months ago when I just started in my current job. But I'm still busy with a master's degree that I'm almost finishing. And also I was teaching some API courses and stuff. So yeah, a bit busy. But yeah,
Nice.
hopefully as soon as I'm done with the master's degree, I will be able to contribute with more quality that I have been doing for the last months. Yeah.
What are your courses, by the way? Would love to check them out.
Yeah, let me share the link in the chat. Is the MIT of Massachusetts has some online courses. Those online courses, the materials and everything is created by MIT teachers, right? But there is one role called learning facilitator that is kind of teaching assistant or something like that. And what I'm doing is like host weekly office hours with the participants and prepare case studies and cover some the more each week there is one like some controversial topic or like the more complex stuff. So I'm just helping them with that. And of course, I'm the one and reviewing all the assignments and everything. So yeah, most of my work is reviewing
Super
stuff.
cool.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you. What about you, Jason? How is the life going? I don't know if you can hear him, Juan, but I can.
No, I think you're muted, Jason. Yeah, we can't hear you.
No, we can hear you. By the way, I'm going to share my screen to see what we have in the agenda for today.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Now we can, yes.
Okay.
yes, we can.
The old turn it off and on again.
Is the the basic workaround? So yeah, it's great that it worked out. So how is the life going?
It's going all right. Yeah, I'm working on my projects and doing coaching a lot of gymnastics, and yeah.
Wait, I'm going to. There is someone wait in the waiting room. So yeah, I'm going to let the people in. 1 second.
Okay.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
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 Hey Victor. Thanks for joining. We hope if this is your first Open Community Working session, I hope that it's not going to be the last, and we will try to make it like fun. But yeah, we have some interesting topic to discuss. So thanks for joining. Cool. Okay, so I think it's the first session we have in 2025, right? Or because the last one, I think we didn't have agenda, but maybe someone connected. I'm not sure. Did you guys connected in January?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is the first one we've done in 2025.
Great. I think we have some interesting stuff in the agenda. But before getting started, let's go very quickly through the meeting etiquette, as we always do. We are going to record this meeting to share it with the community, and also in our YouTube channel. But if someone in the room is against sharing this publicly, just send me a message, and I will take care of no uploading this one. Otherwise, this will be online during the week. I don't know how much time I will need to do it. During the session, we encourage everyone to challenge any language or behavior that is harmful, not inclusive, or against our code of conduct. And when other people is speaking, we'll try to stay on mute and use the Zoom reactions for us to not speak. And without further ado, let's go with the agenda. There is one topic added by Jason, but to standardization. Sounds really interesting. And there are two more added by me. One is I will be happy to provide a quick GSOC update, sharing where we are and what are the next steps. And the second point is regarding a discussion that I have with Juan when we were discussing about some promotional messages in our social media, but it ended up that I'm the only one with Ben Hatton that has access to those accounts. Considering that I'm not being able to contribute as I would like to, maybe it's a interesting discussion to have if we can have the more people accessing the social media to be more agile in publishing. We still have time to add more topics, so if you have something in mind, just add a comment to the issue or send me a message and I will take care of adding the topic to the agenda. Any comments so far before getting started? Great. Jason, do you mind if we start with the cool topic of path to standardization?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how much of this we should talk about publicly, but yeah, we've been had some discussions with ECMA about possibly standardizing through them. We previously decided to just move forward self-publishing only and not worry about standardization for now. But ECMA came to us and we've been talking with them. And I guess I wanted to just be able to have a real-time conversation with people about their feelings about how things are going with that conversation and yeah, and what we're thinking. I was hoping for a few more of the TSC to be here to have that conversation with, but we can still do it with who we have. So I guess to start with, my thoughts are that I think standardization is, although not an absolutely crucial thing that we need, I think it would be a huge benefit. I know there's lots of people who, there's some industries that won't use JSON schema because until it's a standard. So I don't think we're missing out on much from those. That's a pretty small sliver, but we want to be open to everybody if we can. And so yeah, I think navigating the risks versus the rewards of that relationship, I think, is the thing that we want to focus on.
I concur with considering this like a top high priority for us. And we have the experience of our previous attempts, let's say, with other organizations and everything that we learned about the process. And for me, is worth continue the conversation and also acknowledging that they are trying to adapt that they have for a to us is sounds great. So yeah, I think that is exciting. So and we are doing the right thing, like just taking small steps to see how the things progress. And the second thing that I wanted to share is note that we don't have like full-time contributors like we had in the past. We have less resources, so we should try to focus on the key stuff for the year, right? Of course, the stable spec is one of those priorities, but as of now, like Greg is the one like this, like doing the biggest effort on that. But maybe if the TST is able to provide feedback and we find like alignment, I think that we should try to find people that is like committed to move it forward if it's what we think that makes sense, and make it like one of the priorities for the year. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in any case, I don't think that we want to standardize anything that what we have so far. I think we want to wait till we have the stable spec and then get that standardized.
Yeah.
I think the whole process is changing in order to support that standardization process. So yeah, so I think that's still a priority. And it's got to come first before getting that spec ready. Has to come first before it can be standardized.
Yeah, definitely. Any other comment?
It makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, I hope to continue the conversation in GitHub, Slack, and hopefully in more future meetings. Okay, if we can.
From Greg, because he's the one who I think is most apprehensive about this this topic. But well, maybe next time we'll be able to get him in the conversation.
So there's no other topics?
We have two topics. I'm sharing the screen. We have two more topics. One is a brief update about where we are with Google Summer of Code in terms of program management. And secondly, as another topic to discuss who in the TST is actually accessing the Google, the social media accounts, and get some initial feedback about what other TST members and other members of the community think about having more people accessing those accounts for being more agile in promoting content.
Okay. Yeah, just a question after the regular topics.
Considering that you are actually speaking, so we can, if everyone agrees, considering that is the first time that you join the session, so you have the privilege, or just let's stop the agenda and let's listen to the question if you feel comfortable with doing it right now.
Oh, okay, thank you. Actually, I joined one of the office hour sessions that Jason hosted just one time before. So I was just curious because JSON schema has been just really, you see it everywhere, but just not sure what's happening. That's why I joined. After that, I did more reading and just some more questions. Two, basically. The one I posted last time with Jason is like the relationship between how this standard evolved together with the other like open API standard, etc. That still stands. I'm not sure is there I guess the answer there may not be an answer. It's just the way it is. The second question is, I've seen a lot of recently. If you go to any developer meetings, conferences, there's always they're trying to use AI generated code. So question come up, they always say, so by using the tool, you generate better code. So then I always ask, what do you mean better code, right? So better code in what sense? So JSON schema being one of the standards seems to be probably will play a role in the future on define what is good better code, right? But how to get there is the question. So that's my two questions.
Wow. Who in the DC wants to start replying to the questions? The second is like a really cool topic. So, but yeah, I will leave to Jason or Juan. They like to start.
Yeah, well, it's I guess let's start with the first one. I think it was about the relationship between other standards, or JSON Schema's relationship to other standards like OpenAPI. Yeah, I don't think any of that is changing in the future as we move towards the new spec and possible standardization. We still work closely with OpenAPI. We're kind of a component in that standard, but
just to expand on that first question, last time I did ask the same question, and I came up. So in the STDX community, actually Jason already joined that Slack workspace. So there are some new changes we're doing in that community. Because I don't know what happens in between like JSON schema and OpenAPI, but in the metadata, I don't know if it's a proper name to call in that world. Like SPDX have a dataset profile, and then originally there's a data catalog metadata format called DCAT, and there's a new like ML specific set metadata format called croissant. So we are trying to be interoperable. In other words, they're still evolving, but it takes effort to keep all of them in sync. When you describe data file using different metadata formats, they call it a different name, but there should be the same meaning. Right? So is this a problem for how OpenAPI and JSON schema and other standards? You have to, while you're evolving new standard in JSON schema, you have to, keep up to date on what's happening in the other worlds and try to keep up. Is that needed?
So it sounds like you're talking about more of the like semantics side of schemas, which is not really what JSON schema is designed for. Like JSON schema does structural validation. There are people have made some attempts to merge those things, but it's not really something that's part of JSON schema.
I mean, if I may add on that, because presuming, Victor, that you're coming from the metadata space, I do see a lot of people attempting to work with JSON schema from a metadata registry point of view. Whether it was meant, for that purpose or not, I think that's another discussion. But you do see a lot of people doing a lot of these. One of the things I've seen, Victor, a lot, mainly in the UK, though I'm not sure how that translates to the rest of the world or where you are based, Victor, but the ISO 11179, that's a standard metadata registry specification by the ISO. They do provide guidance on doing metadata registries using JSON schema. And I've seen that being pretty common for example, more regulated industries like healthcare, that they forcefully have to adhere to the ISO 11179, at least in the UK, for managing data. JSON schema has been a core component in there. So, I mean, all to say that it is present in the whole metadata space, and you do see a lot of people working on it, and specifications building on top of it. I mean, same way like OpenAPI builds on top of JSON schema for the API space, you see, say, ISO specifications building on JSON schema for this kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not sure if you have specific challenges or whatever that happy to talk over here or later, but it is something for sure.
Okay, so there's, it's not like, because I know there's several different formats. I mean, they're totally like for example XML schema. Obviously, that's totally different. So I just don't know, does JSON schema need to be in sync with like, another JSON kind of schema related standard? Anyway, that's my first question.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but that's the thing, right? For example, if you take a look at the ISO 11179, they provide essentially what a metadata registry, how should it look like? And then once they define the foundational principles of how it should look like, they provide additional documents on how you can encode those into a variety of formats, including XML schema, including JSON schema, and a few other ones.
Okay, so there are efforts to be in sync with that ISO standard.
Yeah, in a way, I don't think JSON schema, the specification group itself and the TSC you're seeing some of us here, is not something that we pay like an extremely close eye on, or we are partnering, for example, with the ISO, but it's just a byproduct of us making something useful, and adoption happens even when we don't necessarily know about it.
Oh, okay. So they basically follow the JSON schema. Okay, that's easier for this group.
Exactly.
That's good.
Yes.
So next, the second question is, the standard, how to define better code in the sense of a JSON schema. What is a better code?
You mean how to write better schemas in general?
Yeah. The reason it actually came up in a kind of you can say, a kind of sister ecosystem. Is called it's kind of sister not foundation group to the Open API foundation. It's called let me see. I told Jason last time. I keep on forgetting. AEP. It came from the Google Application Enhancement Improvement API standard. So it's kind of opinionated implementation of an Open API standard. So so their discussion there, if you there are several, actually large organizations is already on board to build some not widely adopted yet, but they are trying to create code that follow their standard there, so that when you define a code, if they follow that standard, it can be called better code. Is there such a thing in the world of the JSON schema?
There is, I mean, fun fact is that you're touching on the problem of writing, better schemas and following best practices, maybe avoiding some pitfalls. One of the topics that we're proposing for Google Summer of Code, and I'm not sure if you guys have the link at hand, otherwise I could go find it. But one of the topics that we want to propose for Google Summer of Code is doing exactly that. And there has been some attempts in the past, but we want ideally the JSON schema open source organization itself to publish in some shape or form some guidance for how you should be writing schemas, and those guidance would be implemented in various linter tooling, for example, like the one that I have linked to. I'm not sure if that answers the question. Yeah, exactly. That org that you're pasting, Victor, has some API linters. For example, in there is a lot to be done within the JSON schema side of things. I mean, after all, things like OpenAPI are wrappers on top of JSON schema for you to use JSON schema in the context of APIs. So do expect there is some tooling. Again, I sent a link in there in the chat. I'm sending you again. I'm maintaining tooling for doing linting on schemas and kind of promote better schemas. But overall, yeah, I would love for the organization at some point soon, and again, we have a Google Summer of Project code for that, to be publishing more, I guess, more formally what those guidelines are.
It's interesting that the AEP group also are creating two linters, one for the REST API and one for gRPC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean,
Okay,
I
cool.
guess each ecosystem has its own things, right? But yeah, we want something like that to come from JSON schema community, and that would be very comprehensive at the JSON schema level.
Okay, awesome. But there are just on the same topic, but there are actually questions in the community when I go out and try to socialize. What do you think? It's good code, it's AEP. Why don't you adopt this? People are working on it. But some say I have different opinions. So how this is very opinionated. Just standard. It's not so. Is there some like I don't know about JSON schema, but if there's some like disagreement on whether it's a good code or not, how does that get resolved? Is it just create a pull request, an issue in the JSON schema community? Is that right?
I mean, we are writing the specification that describes JSON schema as a language, so we are not we're not maintaining, I guess, people's schemas, right? So for example, if you think a specific schema from a specific company or other organization is badly written or can be improved, you can probably open an issue in there, right? And ask the maintainers of those schemas. So we're mainly from the specification point of view, but yeah, we do. I even pasted a link in there in the chat, the last one. We're trying to consolidate some of that. I mean, I think a lot of best practices have emerged throughout the community, and we see those being followed quite consistently. And there are some other areas that are more, open to discussion. But that's something that the group wants to. I mean, I'm speaking on behalf of the group, right? But I think it's something that we want to normalize and encourage more, and at least centralize what those thoughts are.
Okay, so unlike AEP, which somebody may disagree on that, so they create an issue and try to get him back and forth to modify the what is considered best practice. For JSON schema, there's no such a thing, right? It's a I guess it doesn't affect how you design application. It's just a format, so there's no because they're good or bad per se, right? It's you follow this or not. There's no right and wrong per se, right?
No, well, yeah, there's no right or wrong, but there's definitely a lot of variation in opinions of what makes a good schema, what patterns you should use in certain cases. I think I like Juan's talking about we want to be able to put up a recommended set of rules. But that's not necessarily, I think, what everyone's going to choose. I think there's going to be a whole lot of cases where people are going to be like, yeah, I like this rule and this rule and this rule, but I prefer doing it this way, and for this other thing. And I think whatever we come up with, like I hope linters are going to, or implementations of these rules are going to allow for customization.
I see. So in a way, JSON schema is similar to. I mean, the relationship between JSON schema and the linter of JSON schema is similar to the relationship between OpenAPI and AEP. The AEP is opinionated; people don't have to follow it, but OpenAPI is a description language, so you have to follow it. So same thing for JSON schema. JSON schema this is the way it is. There's no change. However, the linter is kind of best practice. You don't have to agree on it or implement it. Is that right?
I think that sounds right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think if I add on that, I think one thing that it might not be obvious, and I think you're also touching on it as a bit, is that the JSON schema organization itself, we purposely do not maintain any tooling in the ecosystem. So if you go, for example, check out the JSON schema organization on GitHub, you're only going to see, for example, the specification or the website, but we ourselves, we don't provide tooling, we don't write linters, or we don't write any of these tools, right? It's merely a spec. What you see is that there are a few organizations in the ecosystem that are the ones implementing the specification and providing their own tooling. Like, for example, I have my own company doing exactly that, right? It's the whole thing is just JSON schema tooling. So you're gonna see that kind of stuff, but again, none of it is other than documentation, I guess, and a specification coming from the main organizations.
Okay, awesome. Now I get the picture. Thank you so much. I think it'll be great to have this in a blog. I think people like to know the relationships.
Yes.
Yeah, OpenAPI works the same way, by the way, where they don't maintain any implementations, just the specification.
Well, you should help us write the blog post, Victor. right? That'll be fun.
I love to. That's how I find out, open source community. As long as I work to the best, I can do anything.
Okay. Any other comment regarding this great conversation? And thanks, Victor, for your great questions. Cool. Let's go back to the agenda. Can you see my screen?
No.
Let me try again. Is
Up there.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We have two more topics, and I hope to make this as quick as possible. One, I would love to provide a quick update about where we are with Google Summer of Code. Very quickly, let me change the page I'm sharing to present the ideas and everything. Let's have it ready. Okay, cool. Okay, this is the issue 852 in the community repo. Has all the action plan that I have been following with the community management intern that is Onidekachi from Nigeria. She has been actively working in community management stuff since October, November, and she is great. Basically, the idea that I had when working with her was first trying to enable her with the basic overview of the community, and later we decided to focus in just one single program instead of just all the stuff that we traditionally were moving before the Postman layoff. That was a bunch of things. And this worked out. We decided to focus on this. And what we did is, of course, in the beginning, in the end of the year, of past year and January, we work in the plan with some announcements. We updated the onboarding guides in the community repo to create a new page for 2025. We created the call for project ideas and call for mentors, and we ended up with a good set of ideas. That is these 7. We already prioritized them. This list is not prioritized. So the prioritized list that we built in the TSC voting process is the one that we are going to use if hopefully we are selected this year. So if we are selected, we will follow that prioritization to request for Google Summer for slots, right? Because if we have seven projects, it's going to be very difficult to get those 7. So we will put all of them in order, and we will hopefully receive slots following that order. Hopefully, if we manage to get again into the program, hopefully between 2 and 4. Let's see. So we have a proposal to build a Java wrapper library for Source Meta Blaze, the C++ validator created by Juan. That is ultra fast. We have another idea to automatize the process for batch create on in the tour of JSON Schema. That actually is manual, and we probably have a bunch of people waiting to receive the certificate, by the way. So but I don't think this idea requires like a full project. I think that we just need like someone with a couple of weeks of focus to work on this. But yeah, the idea is here. Later we have another idea for better JSON Schema errors. I like this one. Another one for creating a JSON Schema visualization tool with interactive graphical viewing stuff. The next idea, adoption of a component library for the website. and also completion of the test suite. I mean, with that suite, I mean the test the testing plan for the website. Another project for investigating JSON schema normalization created by Julian. And finally, the project that we discussed before, a comprehensive JSON schema linting for encouraging best practices and catching anti-patterns early. Any comment regarding the ideas? I think that we have really cool material in the list.
How are we doing with the voting, by the way? Because I saw that you shared that.
Yeah, the voting. We didn't share publicly what is the if you go to the TST channel, you have the spreadsheet there. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question was not about the outcome of the voting, but like, are we done with that? Is that like something that it's done?
yeah, what happened is we did it too early in the process. Basically, we should follow the voting process after Google announced the mentoring organizations, but we did it before because I didn't remember properly exactly the order. But the thing is, we are not going to add more ideas. We already have the ideas prioritized, so we are ready to move on. As soon as we are announced, or hopefully as again as mentoring organization, we will check in the TST channel, and if we all align, we will provide the prioritized list probably, so the people can understand how we are prioritizing everything. The second thing that probably we will need to do is think about qualification tasks. So we haven't had any qualification task, but we prefer to wait until the announcement. Otherwise, we can spend a lot of time working on something that maybe is not going to be used for anything, right? So we decided to hold on a bit. So yeah, this is the list that we have. And let me go back to the plan. We are actually in this stage. So we need to wait until Google announced the mentoring organizations. We submitted our application. We created all the processes, our list, and everything. And now it's time for us to wait for 9 days. And before that, we will see what are the next steps. If we are lucky again, we will be part of the process. And what is next is we will add the qualification tags, and we will start promoting to have more people involved. And when the time is right, we will announce the deadline for submissions and everything to continue the proposals, evaluations, and so on. So yeah, we are following the timelines. For more details about the timeline, so basically, we need to wait the organization announcement, and from February 27 to March 24, contributors will have time to explore the ideas and prepare their applications. And the deadline for submitting the application is April 8. After that, in a month, Google will announce the selected projects. So before, after being selected and we submit our projects, we are not going to know accurately how many slots do we have. So that's going to happen in May 8. But this is going too far in the calendar. So the first milestone is being selected, and actually this is very difficult. So let's see if we do it again.
But one comment, by the way, on that, and again, just brainstorming, given that we're on the meeting. But for example, last time we got a lot of luck also getting some slots through Postman, right? I'm just talking about the adding slots. But I think, we did it successfully with Postman. It doesn't mean that we cannot do that with other organizations. So for example, I think I also maintain a lot of open source stuff on my own company. I could try applying that. I also believe that companies very tightly integrated in the ecosystem, like Octio, for example, that was our sponsor for the conference. They could be in a good position to also try to apply to Google Summer of Code. And that could be a strategy long term to just try to increase the slots, maybe.
For next year.
Yes,
Because
next year.
yeah, but I mean, to be honest, it has been a challenge to be in a position to apply again this year. I think that I personally I was lucky to have Onidikachi helping me with this, and she made all the heavy lifting probably in everything. We just work in the planning, but hopefully if we manage to find a way to have someone or a group of people more involved in community stuff, we can think about it more strategically. This year has been like just tactically, just trying to make it happen. The same way that for the conference, we just tried to make it happen because there was like not enough time, minimal planning, and I'm still in that phase. I hope to be in a better spot in April, but I will need more people involved. Otherwise, I feel that I'm neglecting some stuff, and we are missing some opportunities because the reality is that we did a really great job in the last 2 years. A lot of people, we have much more people coming interested and a lot of opportunities around the project, but we are not being able to capture it because we need more people in the community management stuff. This is why I created that issue to see if a part-time community manager might be a solution, but maybe it's not. Maybe we just need to all of us to discuss about how we can divide the work and how many working areas we can have and see if like dividing everything we can do it. But in the to be honest, maybe just a part-time community manager can like give us some fresh air and give us like more time to think focus on other stuff. I don't know. Yeah, this is another discussion. The issue is in the TSD report.
It's a good topic to discuss.
Yeah,
I mean, we should probably have added to the agenda, and I think, I mean,
yeah, the issues there. Let's see how the other community members feel about that. What are the TSD votes about it? The vote is just to explore the idea. It's not like a final decision. But yeah, Onidikachi is going to contribute in this community management internship way until beginning of April. So later, let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I like your proposal. I mean, and just overall touching on the macro level of that, I think again there are so many opportunities, and I don't think we're particularly good at making use of the open collective money. I think it's just like sitting there for nothing. And counterintuitively enough, I think it's not gonna grow until we show that we spend it. And we can spend it well, which I mean, overall, yeah, that's why I like your idea about using it for this. I think we should think also about other ways of using it too.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I agree with Juan. I think we should be using that money. I mean, it's not much. I mean, so it's not like we can do any like big initiatives with it, but like we should be using what we have. And I think that providing a financial incentive to have people do community management tasks, I think, is a great idea. I think historically we've shown that our members are not super excited about doing those things, and so it's not like we just need to be more organized about it. It's like I think that we need to bring somebody in who wants to do it, and if providing a financial incentive to do that is the way to go, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, let's see where the conversations goes. Another opportunity that I see on exploring that is that maybe in the future we can feel more comfortable in following a similar approach for other types of contributions as well, like or supporting tooling creators. I submitted an idea in the past also to create a yearly grant for tooling creators. So yeah, I think that we all agree that the financial situation of the project improved. We have more sponsors right now. We have monthly income that we can probably invest more in those kinds of ideas. So yeah.
I think it's a chicken and egg problem as well, because I mean, I know that don't have a lot of money, and you, Jason, you're touching on that. I mean, it's not that huge to pay, for example, or employ people, but I think that's actually the chicken and egg problem. I think for company, I don't think we are giving companies enough of an incentive to donate, and we don't want it to look like they're like throwing money at the void. I think it doesn't grow because we don't spend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, to check with that. Yeah, I will push for having that conversation like accelerated. Yeah, thank you for the feedback. And before going into the other topic, I see that Karan put a question in the chat. It's regarding your project idea, Juan. A good
Okay.
I don't know if Karan, do you like to read it yourself, because I'm not sure exactly what is the question. So if you feel comfortable in reading it, perfect. If not, we can do it. Yes.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so basically I was going through that issue, and there was this line written in the skills required that you need a good understanding of JSON schema enough to appreciate and understand what the discovered anti-patterns and the best practices would be. So as of now, I have joined the community since the past 2 months only, and I'm not that aware of JSON schema. I have just like completed the tour almost and like contributed to the website and like source metas, some repositories. So how shall
Kudos
I
for that.
learn JSON schema? Yeah, yeah, thank you. So how shall I understand that, and how shall I write better schemas, industry level schemas, so that I can be a good contributor or have a great shot at being at the project?
And I think that's itself the problem, right? I guess what I was trying to say with that issue is that nobody really knows, and I think this is also touching on what Victor was touching on, which I think it makes it a fun call overall. But I think nobody really knows, and I don't think we necessarily know either what the truth is for what good schemas are. I think the goal of that Google Summer of Code is mostly to determine that, right? What does a really good schema mean, even, right? So I think as a prerequisite, for example, assuming that you're trying to apply for that project, and assuming that we get selected on Google Summer of Code as well, I guess my intention was that you know enough of JSON schema to understand JSON schema so that you can go and see the schemas that people write out there in the wild, and at least be able to help out developing what would even be the criteria for what it is, a good schema or not. So I think, yeah, you're touching on the problem. I think that is a problem that we want to solve. I don't think we have the answers on how to solve it,
Yeah,
but
all
we
right, makes
would give it a shot on the Google Summer of Code project.
Yeah, so basically I can, for example, some engineers open issues in JSON schema repository that they don't know how to write a particular schema, or they are facing problem in some schema. So I can basically understand their problem and like maybe have a collected points that we can basically make a document and point people to, right?
Exactly, it's developing that intuition. I think there are some ways you can go more methodical about it. So, for example, I've been developing the Blaze like high performance validator, right? And we did two things in there. I mean, first one is that we have went through all of GitHub, and we have data sets of like I think 500,000 schemas or something like that that we just like pulled out of everything that we can find, and we were running analysis on that huge data set to figure out how people are actually writing schemas and what patterns and conventions do people follow at large. I have some of the schemas published on schemas at sourcemeta.com, not all of them, of course, but even going more methodical and trying to understand how people do it, and then also tapping on experiences, like, for example, me while writing an implementation, and I think that applies to everybody that has written implementations like Jason in this call. Through the process of doing that, you can probably appreciate what makes even a schema, for example, easier to evaluate, which might be an indicative of this is a better schema. So I think there is a lot of potential to explore that properly.
Yeah, makes sense. Seems like a great project idea. Thank you. That was all for my side.
Cool.
Thank you for joining, Karen, and sharing your question.
Yeah, I would also recommend just like finding like, I mean, the best way to learn this stuff is to write a bunch of schemas. So like I would just like, you know, choose some domain that that you're interested in and just like, you know, write some schemas to model that domain. And find out where your pain points are. Like where does it get, you know, where do things get hard? Where does the, you know, error messages get bad? You know, where does, you know, yeah, where does efficiency suffer? Stuff like that. And just you know, try a bunch of stuff and learn from doing.
All right, sure, I'll do that. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, and listening to all of you like speaking about the topic, I remember that we have a channel when we are getting all the notifications from what is the Stack Overflow, with people asking about JSON schema, right? So and
Yes.
that channel is not the best way to consume that information, but actually if you manage to consume Stack Overflow stuff or scrap it or something, you will find a bunch of insights about what is the people struggling with. You can find also something in our repo, but the Stack Overflow is like gold for people struggling with the JSON schema. So yeah, if you are curious about finding not only feeling yourself like with the good advice that Jason just provided, if you like to go further, in there you can find a lot of insights and pains and common issues and anti-patterns.
I mean,
And
I
Jason,
think
actually,
you're touching on a great point, right? Which is, I mean, we can be reactive to how users get confused. I mean, the whole point is that Linter should provide guidance. And yeah, even looking at Stack Overflow or Slack is probably a gold mine, and we just have to go and like digest that enormous amount of information. I think we can get huge amount of insights.
and actually, Jason and Greg and other TS team members invested a bunch of time in the last years in supporting people there. So it's not only about the questions, but also about the solutions. So everything is there. So yeah.
Yeah, that is a great point. That will give me a lot more insights. Yeah.
Cool. And the last point that is just is we are not going to solve it today, but it's related with the community management help and an opportunity. Recently, Juan needed to wait for me like 6 weeks maybe for uploading his talk to YouTube, and I do apologize for that. But the
No worries, no
topic
worries.
is the Ben Hutton and I are the ones that have access right now to those channels, and I think we should find a way to put to grow the people that has access to that, not for responsibility reasons, but also for security and sustainability of the project. So maybe it's wise to kick off a thread or something on Slack and see how the initial reactions are, and maybe we can find a way to put the credentials there and create a group for more people being able to access there, to avoid losing, for example, I don't know, maybe someone lose the access to the account. I don't know. We learned the hard way with Postman that we can in the next day we can lose access to everything. So we need to secure the access for all those channels, and why not have more people contributing, because what is true is we are all aligned in the messaging and the priorities. So yeah, let's see if we can make it happen. Sorry for the long speech. Okay, I think we are done with the agenda for today. I feel great about having another session, starting the sessions this year, and I'm excited about everything that we can achieve this year. So yeah, let's continue the discussion, and it was great to see you all. Thank you for connecting.
Yeah, hopefully we get the entire TFC on the JSON Schema conference next time. I'd love to meet you in person, Jason.
No answer to that. Yeah, maybe we need
collectivist answer, maybe.
or
right?
maybe we need to do it in the US, and it's easier for others in the community. So yeah, No comments so far.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd love to do another conference and be able to go this time. But yeah, I was just too far and you know, yeah, too difficult to make it happen this time.
And something that we can discuss is if we feel how we feel about having an online conference. It will require a lot of work, but it's the way for making accessible to everyone. So yeah, I probably if I have a bit more time after submitting my project for the master degree, I will submit the idea and thinking about running it in September, October, or something like that. That we have time to prepare it and use the same efforts to think about repeating in December in EPA Day. So yeah, it's in my mind. So if you feel excited as I feel, let's continue talking about it.
Let's do it.
Okay, folks, have a good day. Thank you for connecting. It was great to see you all, and hope to see you next month. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Victor and Karan.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.